invite anybody. So
I'm not even on the live page.
okay, yeah, that's fine. It's fine. All right, you're live. Let me. So I'll do a short intro and then we'll just jump right in. How's that sound?
Okay.
Sound all right? Okay.
Going to the live page now. Just is anybody out there?
Oh no, I don't. I don't think so.
Just in case somebody like Lopta shows up.
You never know. You never know. It's a good idea. I'll keep an eye. I keep an eye out too. Okay, here we go. I'm Jim Collison, and this is a live home tech tip. I'm here with Mike Howard from jpeg2raw.com. Mike recently picked up a Mediasonic HFR2 SU3S2 ProRAID 4-bay hard drive enclosure. And Mike, being a photographer, hard drive space is really important to him. So, Mike, welcome to a home tech tip.
Thanks, Jim. Yep, I love these devices. This is my fourth one.
Well, we talked a little bit about this on Home Gadget Geeks the other night. You said you'd purchased it, and that kind of got me thinking, wow, if you've got 4 of them, kind of why do you keep going back to it? So first, let's talk about what it is, and then we'll talk about how much it costs you as well in the purchase.
All right, what it is it's a hard drive enclosure. It'll hold 4 hard drives. The size is up to 6 terabyte each drive, is what the website says. So it'll hold 4 drives. I now have 4 terabyte drives in there for a total of 12 terabytes before, or 16 terabytes, sorry, 12 terabytes after I use RAID 5. Speaking of that, it is the RAID version. Mediasonic has a version that is not RAID. It's just a hard drive enclosure. This is the RAID version. It has USB 3.0, has eSATA. It'll do RAID 0, 1, 3, 5, and 10. I'm running the RAID 5 configuration.
And of course, you've got a few of these. When we think about some of the other RAID devices, they get pretty expensive, $400, $500, $600. This comes in just under $200 as of the recording here, as of March 8th, 2015. Is it the price that attracts you to this? I mean, it's a fairly inexpensive hard drive enclosure to get into, right?
Yeah, and that's one of the things that attracts me to it is, photographers will spend a lot of money on their gear, on the camera, the lenses, on other things that they do, but they seem to skimp on hard drives, on the storage and backup, that kind of stuff. So for them to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars, up to maybe $800 or $900 on an enclosure that has no drives in it, is a showstopper for them right away. Many of them will not do that. So for me, I like to think about 6 months ahead. 6 months from now, what's my storage needs going to be? And when I get to the point where I need more storage, these things are so cheap at slightly under $200, like you said. I just pick up another one and slap more drives in it, and then move stuff over to it and do something with the previous ones. Include them in my storage needs then.
In many of those, you could also then swap out drives for larger drives. So take them maybe out of the pool, put larger drives in them, recycle the smaller drives, and then it'll expand up for you.
Correct. Yeah, I could take the one I'm going to replace this one with, the one this one's going to replace. I could then put larger drives on that one and bring it back into the swing if I wanted to.
Yeah, it gives you some more flexibility. This is a 4-bay enclosure. You've purchased 4 drives for it.
Yep.
And each of those drives is 4 terabytes.
4 terabyte. Yep.
So 4, 8, 12, 16, right? 16 terabytes. How much storage do you need? I mean, how much are you using currently in your setup there?
So I'm using right now close to 5 terabyte of storage. What had happened is my previous one was 2 terabyte drives, so 6 terabyte total. You lose that, or actually that'd be 8 terabyte. You lose 2 terabyte of that for the RAID 5. Now you're down to 6 terabyte, and I was a little over 5 terabytes, so I was less than a terabyte of storage left. So at that point, I decided it's time to get another one.
Yeah, time to upgrade. And on this one, you're going to lose 4 terabytes in the RAID, and so you're going to have 12 available to you. That should last you. You'd think that would last you for a while. You're a photographer, lots of pictures, lots of storage needs in that as well, and so it gives us a pretty good indication of at least your growth will go for a while. When we think about some tips, some things that you've liked and some things that you haven't liked, let's start with those things that you've liked about it.
One of the things I like is you put the drives in there, and I'll pop off the front cover here. You put the drives in there, and try and do this sideways. I'm gonna have to turn it.
Yeah, that's fine.
You pop off this front cover, and you put the drives in there, and you can see them. I have them labeled 1, 2, 3. They just come with these little things here. If I can
Is
get
that
a
a
hold of it.
tray?
It is a tray, and I'm trying to do this sideways, and it's messing
Yeah,
with
it's
it.
always fun.
Hold on.
No problem. Pop them out.
Yeah. So as you pull the tray out, it just starts to come out. And once you get them in there, you push them in there, and have all four of them in there and turn it on. It's good to go right away. With a lot of RAID enclosures, it's got to build the array and do all that kind of stuff. You can start copying stuff to it right away as soon as you get it in there.
So it's different in the sense if you were to build a RAID with a PC, you would end up kind of building that array, waiting for it to be ready. With this is acts more like a Drobo. Put the drive in, it finds it, it does the stuff in the background,
Right.
and then you can start copying to it right away.
Yeah, and it's good to go. The other thing, I took this front cover off, this front cover. I actually leave that cover off. I don't even put it back on anymore because I have this sitting somewhere where people aren't going to see it. I feel it gets better airflow coming through here. There's a fan on the back. I feel it gets better airflow with that thing off. I do leave this metal cage on in front of it. That way you know your drives have a solid connection because it'll push up against it. And in the front of each one of these is a little rubber pad. You probably can't see them, but that little black spot next to that's a rubber pad, and this will push up against those rubber pads and make sure that the drives have a good solid connection with the connectors in the back of the device.
What else? What else do you like about it?
I like the how easy it is to put them in. I like when one of them go bad. I have had one of them go bad. There'll be an error light up here, and there'll be a light down the side and telling you which one it is. So it's a good idea to have another drive handy, ready to go in there if one goes bad. And all my four, this will be the fourth. So of the three, I've only had one drive go bad, and that was when I was using some of the green drives. I have switched to using just NAS rated drives. So this actually is using the 4 terabyte Hitachi NAS drives in there.
Yeah, I was going to say, because sometimes we recommend Western Digital, sometimes some guys like the Seagate drives. These are the Hitachi drives.
Yeah.
Are they designed for NAS boxes in particular? I know they're a little faster. They're 5,400 RPM, but they get a little better performance than your standard 54 RPM drive.
These are actually the Hitachi NAS that are 7,200 RPM,
Okay.
and they're rated for a NAS. They're comparable to I believe, to the Western Digital Reds. Although the Reds I don't think are 7,200. I think the Reds are what they call the IntelliSpin or whatever it is, where it will do 5,900 or something like that. But so like that,
I'm going to, Mike, let me say before you go, I'll include the links for both the Enclosure in the drive in the show notes. So if you go to theaverageguy.tv and find this home tech tip, this will be home tech tip number 14, we'll have the links available for it there. Real quick, what have you not liked about these drives?
Okay, what I don't like about it is the power supply is on the side. I wish the power supply was on the back. It has a little thing that's angled toward the back, but it is on the side. I wish it was on the back. If you look at the back, you've got the eSATA connection and you got the USB 3 connection. So I wish that they had just put like the power connection back here.
Yeah, that's an odd place for it, for sure.
Yeah, it is. This little compartment here, I'll take that off. That is, you only need to use this thing that I have found whenever you first get it, you've got to set it up for what RAID you want. So you choose the RAID on the front, you hold that button down, and it's in the instructions, it's really simple. But if you don't do it the first time, you're going to wonder why it won't work. You hold that button down and it will blink and then shut off, and then when you turn it back on, it's good to go. So you do that before you start writing anything to it.
Yeah, so pretty simple. Any other tips that you'd give on that device?
Yeah, the other thing I do, like I said, is I will put this metal bracket back on it, but I do not put this thing back on it, this cover, because it's only going to get air through the bottom here. And then the other thing I do, this thing right here is a fan controller. I turn my fan all the way up. If there's an auto that go 1 through 3 speeds, I just turn it to 3 right away. I like to have good airflow going through there, and I just turn it to 3 and just leave it there. And then it's just a matter of every once in a while going, because it's in actually another room, every once in a while going back there and checking to see, hey, has hey, the drive's gone bad. So you got to do that. The other thing that is not an obvious, and I can't find anything written up on like their website about it, but I have found that I think the drives will go to sleep. So what happens is when you go to first you haven't used it in a while, and you got to first get something from it, it's a little slow as they wake back up, and then it's back to their normal speed.
I think in some of the Windows behavior, it might be you click on you go to it, you click on the folder, and it's going to take a second
Yeah.
kind of to bring that back to you. A lot of people keep clicking at that point. You don't want to, of course, you don't want to do that, but it just might be spinning itself back up.
As far as speed, they say that if you use the maximum theoretical speed, the eSATA, I believe, is 6 gigabits per second, and the USB 3 is 5 gigabit per second. So I'm not getting quite those speeds, but I'm getting a decent speed. I'm not a speed where speed is the most important thing for me. We talked about what I'm put on here. Why do I need 12 terabyte? It is one for photos. It also is our podcast files just chew up a ton of space, and other things we do in the house. So this device will be basically the file server for the house, where everybody using this thing to store their files.
And you can access that just through Windows.
Yeah, I have it attached. In my case, I have it attached to a Windows server, and then everybody has a folder on here, and it's shared so that anybody in the house can go and get files off of that. And then actually that computer runs Crash Plan and backs everything up from here.
Very good. Well, that's the Mediasonic, and we'll give this crazy long HFR2-SU3S2 ProRAID 4-bay enclosure. Mike, thanks for taking a few minutes. Good to catch it up with you, and good to take a look at it. Thanks for being with us on Home Tech Tips. If you're interested in this tip, we have more like it. Just add it theaverageguy.tv. Thanks for listening.
Yep. Can I do one closing thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
One closing thing, there are different models of this. There's one model that has FireWire on the back. It'll cost probably a little bit more if you really want the FireWire. And then be careful that you don't get the one that is not RAID. There's one that looks identical to it. It's not RAID. You don't want that one.
Not RAID, huh?
Yep, I have one of those. I got it on purpose, but it's...
Oh, what would you do with that?
Now I'm wishing I would not have got that, because it's not that much cheaper. It's just as good to get the rated one. Okay. So, but if you wanted just something to have drives in external bay, that's why you would do that.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll leave that thing in to make it work. Hey, we did have one viewer out there. I wonder who that is.
Who do we have?
Maybe it's us. I don't know, because I didn't put this on. I didn't push this to the averageguy.tv site. So.
Oh, okay.
It's somebody. Let's see. Yeah, you can in just a second. See if we can find out who's watching here.
Actually, I had to shut this thing down because I'm copying things to it from the old one to the new one.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I've already got all but the biggest directory copied over already.
So you'll just take it back, start it back up, plug it in. It'll join the network, and boom, you're on. How do you have that attached? So you're doing USB into the server?
Yeah, so right now while I'm copying stuff, it's actually USB into the computer I'm talking to you on.
Oh, I gotcha.
And then once it's done, once I've copied everything over, I'll unplug that one that's on the server, plug this one in to the server, and then got to make sure everything's good to go as far as it sees it as the right drive and Crash Plan sees it right and everything. And then it'll just be used, and then I'll be able to take that other one and do something different with it.
And so so once it's plugged into the server, then do you access it on the network through the server?
Yeah, for me, I have it mapped, a map drive.
You do a map drive to it, yeah. So that you can, so the rest of the network could see it.
Mm-hmm. So for me, it's just a map folder on there. For the rest of the people in the house, this is when they download something from Chrome or wherever they download it from, they have a folder it's going to on this box.
And so for the average consumer, right, when we think about this, in most cases they're not gonna have a server. They're gonna either plug this into a PC or a Mac, and they're just gonna load files to it, right? I mean, right. It's kind of what you're doing right now.
Really, all you need is a computer that's always going to be on some device. Even if you have a router, like we were talking about earlier, if you have a router that will allow storage attached to it. This is not a network attached storage because it does not have any Ethernet on the back. But if you have any computer that's running 24/7 and you need that way so that other people can see it all the time, then you can just attach it through USB 3.0 or eSATA.
Yeah, I think
And
that'd be the easiest way is to get one of those routers that's got the USB attachment to it. It wouldn't be super fast because those routers generally are not running super fast
mhm.
hardware on them, but it would be storage.
Yeah, the it depends on what you want to do with it. What I like about it, the way my setup is, and you don't have to have a server like I do, but what I like about it is that the computer is running is attached to is running Crash Plan. So as soon as we put stuff on here, Crash Plan starts sending it out to the internet.
You could do CrashPlan locally though as well. If that was attached to your local PC and you had CrashPlan running on that, it would
You
see
could
that as a drive and move it up as well.
you could, but if you attach it to your router, Crash Plan, I don't think the last time I looked at it, does
Correct.
not allow you to back up network drives.
Yep. Yep. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Anything else?
This little panel right here that you see is
Hold on. Let me.
lights.
Okay.
This thing is lights, and it has a light for each drive, so it will light up as they're being written to. And since this is a RAID, it most likely a lot of them are going to light it up as it writes to the array. So it will be pretty bright. If you have it in a dark room that you care about the light, you might want to put some kind of tape over it or something.
Hmm.
In my case, I put it off into a closet and don't care.
And you said it does alert you if there's a drive bad. It tells you, like a Drovo, it would tell you which drive has gone bad.
Yeah, it visually alerts you. You'd have to go look
Mhm.
at it. So there'll be an error up here. I can't remember where it is. I think it's right here. And then it'll have a light on one of the drives telling you which one it is that is an error.
And so it's just a matter of pulling the drive, replacing it with a like size drive, putting it back in. It's going to rebuild it behind the scenes.
Exactly, and that's a good point though. The like size drives. So with RAIDs, like a lot of RAIDs, if you put in various size drives, you're going to have an issue where I believe the way it works is whatever one is the smallest drive is what the RAID is going to be based upon. So I would highly advise getting 4 of the same size drives. I'd also say get all 4 at one time. So if you're going with RAID 5 and you only put 3 of them in, and then later you want to put a 4th one in, you're going to end up having trouble. You're not going to be able to add that 4th one to the array. You're going to have to break the array and then start over again. So get all 4 drives all at once.
All right. I'm going to mix that all together.
I
That was
know.
some good stuff in there.
I thought about that afterwards. Wow, that's a
No,
lot of stuff that.
this is interesting. I think if I were to do this again, we'll cut it off there. If you're, I'm going to cut it here. If you're listening live, thanks. We got one viewer out there doing. I didn't necessarily intend to do it live. You have to kind of do it live to get it recorded. But thanks for watching us.
Yep,